And now, Death Valley Days. Howdy, folks. I'm the Old Ranger, and I have another interesting true story for you about the historic Death Valley country. The story you're about to hear is one of the most amazing ever to come out of the West. Amazing largely because of the people involved. A group of distinguished men whose names read like a page from Who's Who. We go back to the year 1871. San Francisco is riding the crest of the greatest financial wave in its history. Stocks are booming. Speculation is rampant. There's an excitement in the air. A feeling that anything can happen. And it does. As you'll see in the story of A Killing in Diamond. It starts on an afternoon in September, when two weather-beaten prospectors come ambling along Market Street.
There's Roberts now. Now you let me do the talking.
This strike is just as much mine as it is yours.
I know. But I work for him. I know how to handle him. Come on. Now, we'll only stay in town long enough to get organized.
Why, Phil Arnold.
Well, howdy, Mr. Roberts.
I haven't seen you in a dog's day.
Well, we've been out prospecting. Meet my partner, John Slack. This is Mr. George D. Roberts.
Howdy.
Glad to know you. What's new?
Well, Is it all right if I tell him?
Oh, I don't know.
You made a strike?
Oh, we can trust him. In fact, he might be able to help us. Mr. Roberts is one of the biggest mining consultants in the West.
Well, all right. Not on the street. Someone might hear.
You've got someplace we can talk in private. We can show you something.
My office is right inside.
Good.
Come along. A sack full of diamonds. Where on earth did you find them?
That's our business, Mr. Roberts.
We stumbled on the field by accident, out there in the wilds.
Are you sure they're real?
I took them to a jeweler here in Frisco to be examined. Here's the report.
Why, this is absolutely astounding. These must be worth a fortune.
Oh, that's only a handful. Few samples we scraped up.
What do you propose to do?
We're not saying.
Mr. Roberts is only expressing an interest, John, as an old friend. We're not selling out, that's for certain. We're going to work the field ourselves.
That'll take capital.
We'll raise it, I hope.
I wish you'd let me show these to William Ralston,
Ralston?
president of the Bank of California.
You think Mr. Ralston would be interested?
Want to know a lot more about the property first, of course.
Oh, have us take him out there, I suppose.
At least be assured that these aren't just a flash in the pan.
If it's diamonds he wants to see, I could bring him $1 million worth.
Will you?
Hey, now, wait a minute. Not so fast.
Mr. Roberts wasn't suggesting anything unreasonable, John. It'll take a while, of course, to make the trip.
How long?
Oh, a couple of months, maybe.
Why don't you get started as soon as you can? Meanwhile, I'll have a talk with Ralston.
I don't like the idea of this news getting around.
William Ralston is as closed-mouthed as they come. Your secret will be safe. You will need working capital.
Well, all right.
Diamonds. In this country. That's unheard of.
So was gold before 48. Or silver till the Comstock strike.
Who are these men, anyway?
Phil Arnold I've known for many years. I hired him to investigate some mining properties for me.
Found him reliable?
Absolutely.
And the other man?
John Slack. I checked on him, too. He's an old-time California prospector. A bit surly, but has a good reputation around town.
The diamonds have been certified as genuine?
By San Francisco's leading jeweler. I tell you, Bill, we're onto something tremendous if this field turns out to be as rich as they claim.
And we can keep the news from leaking out?
They'll be out of town for the next 2 months.
Good. That'll give us time to organize.
Mind you, these fellows haven't said they'd sell. Quite the contrary.
If it's something we want, we'll get it.
It'll take a lot of money.
And brains. The best available.
Of course, the whole thing may prove to be a false alarm.
Well, at least we'll be prepared, ready to step in and take control of the first great diamond fields to be discovered in America. I'll get in touch with our friend Asbury Harpending right away.
But he's in London.
Well, I'll cable him to come back. He'll come when he hears what's afoot.
When I received this cable, I thought my friends in San Francisco had gone mad. Diamonds in the desert. Diamonds by the sackful. It sounded like the Arabian Nights. Then I reminded myself that William Ralston was one of the soundest, shrewdest financiers on the West Coast. That George Roberts was a top mining consultant. They wouldn't have spent $1,100 on a cable. That's what it cost them, if there wasn't something behind it. So I cut my plans short and booked passage on a ship sailing for home at an early date.
You think we got $1 million worth here?
Well, it's hard to judge.
Enough anyhow to convince their lordships we're telling the truth.
Sure. You know what I'd do just to be on the safe side? Pack them in 2 separate sacks. And if anything happened to one, we still have the other.
What are you afraid of? Injuns?
Well, you never can tell. I'd hate to turn up empty-handed after Ralston and Roberts had waited so long for us.
I've still got my fingers crossed about that Ralston.
We're in luck to have such a contact. Big banker, with all the money in the world behind him.
And the old eagle eye out.
Oh, sure, sure. Oh, come on, let's pack up and get going.
Well, I couldn't believe it when I first saw it.
Well, I'm glad it's a West Coast deal, and we'll keep it that way.
Harpending.
How are you, Roberts?
Give me your hat. I believe you know these gentlemen.
Yes, indeed. How are you, Mr. Ralston?
Fine, thank you.
General Dodge?
Fine, how are you?
Where's Mr. Lent?
He couldn't be with us today. Well, gentlemen, let's get down to business. Pull up a chair.
You couldn't have timed your arrival more opportunely, Harpending. This telegram has just been received from our prospector friends. It's sent from Reno.
Reno? Well, then the diamond field isn't in Arizona as we'd imagined.
Apparently not. Arriving on Overland Thursday evening. Please have responsible person meet train to take over baggage.
Baggage? A mere $1 million worth of diamonds?
Sign Arnold and Slack.
That isn't John Slack.
Do you know him?
He used to work for me. Examined that mining property I own down in New Mexico. He's a good man.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Perhaps then you'd like to meet the train.
What about you other gentlemen?
No, I think only one of us should go. We don't want to run the risk of attracting too much attention.
Very well.
Take the diamond straight to your home. We'll all meet you there later this evening.
Fine. By the same token, I'd suggest that we all arrive separately. There's no telling who may have got wind of this.
You're right. I'll inform the servants. You all can wait for me in the library. I just hope that train isn't late. Sure looked all in. Hadn't closed their eyes since they boarded the train. Seems they already lost half the diamonds.
Lost them?
Fording the river on the way back. Their raft overturned and one sack went to the bottom. Nearly $1 million sunk.
Good grief. No chance of recovering them?
They didn't even try. Said there were plenty more diamonds where these came from.
Wait a minute. Are the curtains drawn?
Yes, and the door's locked.
All right, go ahead.
Look at the size of some of these. Bigger than dice.
When they're cut, they'll knock your eye out. Talk about a king's ransom.
And these are only half of what they gathered. 2 men alone.
Well, gentlemen, I guess this dispels any doubts we may have had.
We can go ahead now and form a company.
The first diamond company in America.
Hold on, not too fast.
If we can't raise the necessary capital here in San Francisco, we'll get it in New York. I have connections there.
There's no need for that. This is a West Coast discovery, and we intend to keep it here.
Gentlemen, please. Before we start discussing plans of organization, there are several important steps to be taken. First of all, these stones should be examined.
We already have the word of a reliable jeweler.
I want an appraisement by the greatest authority on precious stones in the United States, Tiffany and Company.
You're taking no chances, are you?
You bet I'm not. We're dealing, my friends, with something that can make the gold rush look pale.
And if Tiffany's report is favorable?
We'll send a mining engineer, the most expert in the country, out to examine the fields.
That's a good idea.
I think you're right.
You're forgetting one thing.
What's that?
Arnold and Slack.
Yes, I'd forgotten about them.
This is their discovery. They're the only people in the world who know where the diamond fields are located. And they haven't yet indicated they'd be willing to sell, even a part interest.
They'll sell. Why else would they have gone all the way out there, wherever they went, to bring us back $1 million worth of diamonds, more or less? We'll have a meeting with them the first thing in the morning.
Pardon me, Bill, but I think you better stay out of this. Arnold and Slack are kind of suspicious of you.
Suspicious?
Well, they're afraid that you'll try to cut them out. You leave the negotiating to Hop Ending and me. We know them. They trust us.
That's a fact, Bill.
Well, all right. Just so long as you make a deal with them.
We will. To our advantage.
We'll tie them up properly.
Meanwhile, I'll deposit these for safekeeping. You think our friends will trust my bank?
You admit you have to have working capital. Our group's willing to provide it.
And grab control.
You and Slack will still retain an interest. A good big one.
I'd rather not sell.
Well, how are you going to proceed?
Someone will lend us the money and the diamonds we already have.
Look, Arnold, you need more than money. You need protection. The minute the news of this strike leaks out, there's going to be a rush like nothing you ever saw before in your life. You'll have claim jumpers, legal battles, problems with the government.
Do you realize that there isn't even a law existing under which diamond fields can be located and held?
Try to do this on your own and you'll end up with nothing. The sharpers will move in.
I might part with a small interest.
A quarter?
I reckon.
You're a fool, John.
We'll pay you $100,000 for it.
Cash on the barrelhead?
Cash.
That'd still leave me 3/4. It's a deal.
Good. How about you?
Well, I'll think it over. Let you know later.
I'm leaving for the East tomorrow.
Why, you only just got here.
I'm taking the last lot of diamonds back to Tiffany and Company in New York for examination.
Tiffany?
Experts in precious stones.
That's smart. You'll still be around, Mr. Roberts, in case I change my mind about selling.
I'll be here waiting for you. We'll fix up the papers and give you a check for your part of the deal.
Thanks.
Well, we made a little headway.
Arnold will come through. He's just overpowered by the magnitude of the whole thing. Can't say that I blame him.
Just how big is it, Roberts? Can we swing it here in California?
Well, Ralston seems to think so, and his associate Lent.
Well, I don't. I think we're going to have to interest New York capital. And that's one of the things I plan to do while I'm east. You've heard of Samuel Barlow?
The attorney? Why, yes.
Well, he's a friend of mine and well connected in Wall Street. If we decide to incorporate back there, he could arrange to float the stock. Well, $10 million easily.
Ralston will want to go with it.
All right. We'll leave tonight. Put the store before Barlow by the end of the week.
The proposition that Harpending and Ralston presented to me sounded like the biggest strike in history. But I wasn't going to let myself get too excited about it at first. Not Samuel Barlow. I examined all angles, sifted the facts. I had him send for Arnold to come east, invited him out to my home in Glen Cove, Long Island, to become thoroughly acquainted with him. I found Arnold to be a simple, sincere, straightforward fellow and an experienced miner. There wasn't a flaw in his story. But the thing that really clinched the case, as far as I was concerned, was the appraisal from Charles Tiffany himself.
Our lapidary has examined these stones and finds them to be genuine diamonds.
All that remains now is to find out how extensive the fields are. How about it, Arnold? You and Slack willing to guide an expedition there?
We're placing ourselves at your mercy. You don't think we jump your claims? Well, I ought to have some sort of guarantee in the form of money.
Well, how much?
$100,000? $100,000? Oh, you don't have to pay it over now. You can hold it for me till you get a report on the fields.
Well, that's fair enough.
Thank you.
We'll want the best mining opinion in the country.
Then there's just one man to send, Henry Janin. He's expensive, but he's infallible. Janin has experted some 600 mining properties, to my knowledge, and never once made a mistake.
If he has any fault, it's that he's ultra-conservative.
That's the kind of man you need. We can't afford to take chances with so many millions at stake.
I'll get in touch with Henry Janin tonight.
I, Henry Janin, did agree to undertake the job for $2,500 cash, all expenses, and the privilege of buying 1,000 shares in the new company. In the party that set forth were General Dodge, Mr. Harpendy, myself, and of course, Arnold and Slack. We left the railroad at a little station near Roaring Springs, Wyoming, where we hired an outfit and struck out into the wilderness. I've traveled over some pretty rough country, but this was about the roughest. After 4 days, we finally reached the diamond fields and started in prospecting. We were rewarded at once. There were diamonds all through the area. In the crevices of rocks, in little anthill formations, how deep they went, nobody could guess. We made only a surface examination, but enough to satisfy me that here indeed were diamonds in plenty. Then I got busy and surveyed all the neighboring ground that resembled it. We staked out everything in sight, set up notices of occupation, secured title to water rights and timberland. Leaving Slack to guard the property, the rest of us returned to New York, where I filed my official report. I don't know when I've ever been more excited about a project. As I told Mr. Ralston, give me 20 men, rough laborers, and I'll have $1 million worth of diamonds out for you at the end of a month. This diamond field would control the world market. I felt sure.
Now that you got Janin's report, how about that down payment I was promised?
$100,000.
Make it $150,000.
Getting bigger ideas, huh? You're right. I'll speak to my friends about it right away.
Thanks. We paid Arnold his $150,000 on account. With what we'd already paid Slack, that represented an outlay of $250,000. Only a fraction of what we now had to raise for working capital.
There'll be no difficulty. Give me an hour on Wall Street, and we'll have the money subscribed.
It's very kind of you, Mr. Barlow. But I am definitely of the opinion that the stock should be floated in California.
You know, I've come to the same conclusion.
Well, for once we agree.
You're thinking in terms of a $10 million corporation?
San Francisco can swing it. I have the word of my associates.
You have been in communication with them?
Every day since the expedition returned.
Ralston's assurance is good enough for me. I'll go along with the rest of you.
Well, I can see that I'm outvoted.
I'm sorry, Mr. Barlow.
Oh, I understand. But it would have been a satisfaction to finance this great diamond company.
We appreciate all you've done for us, Mr. Barlow. I wish there was some way we could express our gratitude.
There is. Allow me to subscribe to a block of stock when it's issued.
Well, if we have our way, you'll be elected a director of the company.
The news of the great diamond strike hit San Francisco like a bombshell. The streets were jammed with excited people talking, shouting. trying to get a peek at the display of diamonds in the window of a prominent jewelry store. Everybody wanted to buy stock, but only the cream of the financial and business world were permitted to subscribe. Men like David D. Colton, Thomas H. Selby, Milton S. Layton, Louis Sloss, General George B. McClellan, William Willis, W.F. Babcock. From London came a cablegram from the House of Rothschild offering to act as European representative. Arnold and Slack were bought out for a total of $660,000. Slack disappeared.
And I'll come back to Hardin County, Kentucky, with enough to buy me a fine house and land, and open up a bank in my hometown, like I'd always dreamed of doing. Oh, not a bank as big as Ralston's Bank of California, but I'm satisfied. I don't want millions. I've done all right. Yes, sir. I've done all right.
This map shows the boundaries and the various locations. Discovery Claim, Diamond Flat, Sapphire Hollow.
Just how soon can we start operations?
Well, with $2 million on deposit in the bank, there's nothing to hold us back.
Gentlemen,
Shannon.
excuse me for breaking in on you like this unannounced.
Not at all. Glad to see you.
This is Mr. Clarence King,
Ah, the eminent geologist.
at present employed by the United States government as head of its 40th Parallel Survey.
How do you do?
Happy to meet you. I didn't know you.
Mr. King has some information of vital importance to us.
Well, won't you sit down?
I am the bearer of unfortunate news, gentlemen. You have all been duped, the victims of a gigantic swindle.
What are you talking
What
about?
do you mean?
Swindle? What do you mean?
Please,
What in the world do you
please.
mean?
Let him tell you the story just as he's told it to me.
As Mr. Jannon explained, I'm in charge of the government survey of the 40th Parallel. Hearing about this great diamond discovery and realizing that it lay within the province of our work, I decided to visit the fields in order to include an account of them in my official report. Well, it was everything I had been led to expect. Diamonds everywhere. In the surface of rocks, in little anthills. I'll confess that we helped ourselves to quite a few. I'll confess, too, that if we had left after the first day, I would have been completely fooled as anybody, even Mr. Jannon here. But on the second day, one of our party saw something sparkle in a crevice and picked it out. It was a cut diamond, clearly bearing the marks of a lapidary's tools. I realized then that these diamond fields were a gigantic fraud, salted by somebody with diabolical cleverness.
But Tiffany's appraisement.
Oh, the diamonds were genuine, only nature hadn't put them there.
I still can't believe it till I see it with my own eyes.
We'll go back together and I'll show you.
There's no doubt in your mind, Mr. King?
None whatsoever. You've been taken by two of the slickest operators in the business.
Your friend, Arnold.
And your friend Slack.
I'd have staked my life on their honesty.
As president of the company, I shall stop the sale of stock immediately. This is the cruelest blow I've ever been dealt in my life. To be made the laughing stock of the whole world. We'll never live it down. But there's one thing you can be sure of. No one will lose a penny if I have to pay it back out of my own pocket. And that's a promise.
And Ralston kept that promise. When the last debt was settled, he had the canceled checks framed and hung on the wall of his office as a daily reminder of man's gullibility and guile. What about Arnold and Slack? Slack vanished from the face of the earth. Arnold was tracked down in Kentucky by Mr. Lent and sued. He denied everything, of course. But he paid back $150,000 with the stipulation that no further legal action be taken against him. A year later, he was shot to death. Gradually, the background story was pieced together. Arnold, using the money which he and Slack had made in a lucky mining deal, had gone to England and purchased the stones in bulk from a London merchant. Low-grade stones, which cost him $35,000. Together, he and Slack had salted the field. The fact that nobody in the United States was familiar with diamond mines was a great factor in their favor. Well, the rest you've heard. And that's the story of America's great diamond hoax. And now, Death Valley Days. Howdy, folks. I'm the Old Ranger, and I have another interesting true story for you about the historic Death Valley country. Tonight, I'm going to tell you a story how a piano and a beautiful song unlocked a mystery in a small western town. I call it A Piano Goes West. It started in Stuttgart, Germany in the 1870s.
Piano I ever heard.
I assure you, madam, there is nothing better made anywhere in the world. Why, we have been manufacturing pianos since 1790.
That's a mighty long time. Say, that song you played, On Den Sonnenschein, that's my favorite.
Which is mine, too. Are you German, sir?
No, my grandfather was, but me, I'm New Mexican.
A New Mexican? I do not understand.
Oh, well, Papa means we live in the New Mexico Territory. That's in the southwest part of the United States.
I don't suppose you ever heard of the lovely Julie Silver Mine? Me and my partner, Mike Forbes, we own it. He's back there running it, and I'm over here spending the profits.
Lovely Julie.
Yeah, I named it after my girl here.
It is a beautiful name.
This is our home.
A place like that deserves a piano like this.
Well, I don't know. I was thinking something a little better.
Oh, I can assure you, sir, there is none better.
Well, I mean better looking, you know, kind of fix it up. Put silver all over the legs, silver trim, and maybe my initials right about here.
I can have that done, sir. Of course, there will be an additional charge, and it will take several months.
Oh, time and money are no object. Just as long as it's the best-looking piano you can make, boy.
It will be.
All right, then I'll take it.
Papa?
Pardon me. Say, on second thought, I won't take it.
Won't take it?
No, you see, well, there ain't nobody back home that can teach Julie how to play, and, of course, that's the whole idea of getting the piano.
Nobody at all, sir?
No, nobody. Now, you see, if we could find someone that, well, could play like you, and, maybe look like you. Say, you married?
No, sir.
And maybe, well, single like you, well?
I know just the man, sir. He would consider it a great pleasure to come to your country and play the piano with silver legs. You will be careful of the piano, please?
Like it was a box of eggs. By the time you find these here folks, I'll have that piano sitting right there on that platform.
Thank you. Excuse me. I am looking for the Brown residence, please.
Bronze?
Brown.
Bronze. Up the street, turn to your left. You can't miss it.
Thank you.
Mr. Mahler.
Good day, Miss Julie. I have just arrived into town with your piano.
Didn't you get my letter?
Your letter?
Well, I wrote a month ago.
Oh, I left Germany more than a month ago.
Oh, won't you please come in? Isn't exactly what you expected, is it?
Why, it is very, very nice. What is it about this letter you sent?
I wanted to try and stop you from coming. I wanted to try to get our money back from the piano.
Get it back?
Yes. When we got back from Europe, we learned that my father's mine had run out of ore and it was closed up. Our debts had piled up so it took everything we owned to cover them. My father couldn't stand it. He was killed.
Killed?
Yes, I'm sure of it. That's what Mother thinks. But I can't believe it. He left a farewell note.
I don't believe that he ever wrote that note. Oh, my husband wasn't the kind of a man to run away and leave his wife and daughter.
Mother, please.
You're right, Julie. I shouldn't burden Mr. Mahler with our problems. But you can see that under the circumstances, the piano lessons are out of the question. I'm only sorry that you had this long trip for nothing.
But I am so sorry you've had such misfortune. Is it possible that you could sell the piano to someone here?
Mother! Oh, maybe we could. Well, it is the only piano within 300 miles.
Oh, pianos are that rare. Perhaps the people around here would pay to hear me play. Or I could give concerts.
Concerts? Oh, that's a wonderful idea.
Then I will try it. I will need a place to stay. Would you have room for another boarder? With meals, if you please.
Oh, we'd be very happy to have you stay with us.
Wunderbar. Then I will get my bags and have the piano brought right out. Oh, you will see. Everything will be fine.
How am I doing, Well, let's get this part Now, wait a minute, young fella.
Who brought this piano in here?
I did.
Why, what's right? This piano belongs to the Browns.
Not anymore, it don't. This happens to be my piano now.
Your piano? I do not understand.
Sheriff, maybe you better explain it to him.
Well, the law's on his side, son. This is Mr. Forbes. He was Braun's partner, and he's got a lien on Braun's property to pay off all debts.
Mr. Braun's partner?
So you must be the Dutchman who brought this thing over. Can you play it?
Yeah, I can.
Well, fine. You know, piano players are a little scarce out in this territory. How'd you like a job playing it?
In here? Yeah.
With some lightning.
And the sheriff said he had a legal right to take it.
He took the piano like he's taken everything else we've owned.
He seems to have benefited a great deal by your father's disappearance.
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
What happened the day your father disappeared?
Well, Pa and Mr. Forbes had been together all day going over their business affairs. He was very upset and hardly touched his supper. The next morning, we found a note saying he'd gone away to make a new start and would send for us.
And you have never found anything that might connect him with your father's disappearance?
No. No, we've never found out anything.
Perhaps I can, with the help of your piano.
How you like that, folks? The only piano in New Mexico. And the piano player imported all the way from Germany. Can't beat that, can you? Hard to beat. Come on, Marla, play some more, huh? There, Ellen. There's nothing to get excited about. Everything's all right.
Music. I hear music.
That's my new piano. Sounds nice, doesn't it?
We must get dressed for our guest.
Plenty of time for that.
I put out the best china for the occasion. Doesn't it look nice?
It looks real pretty, Ellen. Real pretty.
Hank will like that music.
Hank isn't going to be there. I told you that. Now forget him.
But Mary's my best friend. I'd better hurry. We're going riding in the hills.
Seen her in such a long time.
Got to stay in bed all the time. Very sick.
Did you find out anything?
I went through his desk. If he has anything incriminating, then he must keep it in the safe. That is beyond my humble talents.
I don't think we'll ever find out what really happened.
Please, do not give up hope, Liebchen.
My father's one hope was that I would learn to play piano well. He loved music.
Yeah, I know.
Please, Kurt, just for me, would you play his favorite song, On den Sonnenschein?
Certainly.
We heard you were ill, but your hair, it's white. What happened?
Why didn't they tell me we had guests?
Mrs. Forbes, don't you recognize me? I'm Julie Brunn.
Won't you please play some more, an encore? I'd be willing to pay.
I would be very happy to.
Ellen, try to remember. Julie Brunn.
Julie Brunn. Julie Brunn.
You must remember, Hank Braun's daughter.
Hank Braun? That song, it was his favorite. Why doesn't he come to see us anymore? He should never have gone there. Poor Hank.
Where did he go, Ellen? Tell us.
I would like to attend all of the concerts this season. I'll get a new dress. Maybe there'll be a dance or two.
Oh, Ellen, please. You said that Hank went someplace. Where? Where? Try to remember.
Missy Ford, you bad girl, go down here. Come, you go up.
I want to stay and listen to the music.
No, Mr. Ford, come. You stay here and make very big trouble.
Why can she not stay?
Please leave alone. She's sick.
I want my handkerchief. Thank you. Goodbye. Do come and visit me again.
You wouldn't believe it was the same woman, Mother. Her hair is white, and, oh, she must have suffered a dreadful shock.
And she said that Hank was coming?
She was not very clear. Her mind wandered.
She spoke as if Papa were still here.
Oh, poor Ellen.
She said one thing, though, that might be important. That is, if it wasn't another one of her hallucinations. She said that Papa shouldn't have gone somewhere, as though we were in some kind of danger. She knows something, Mother, I'm sure.
Is it possible that the shock she suffered has something to do with your father's disappearance?
Come to think of it, it was just about the same time that Ellen dropped out of sight, and Mike Forbes spread the story that she was too sick to see anyone.
There's something locked up in her mind, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think I have the key to unlock it.
Isn't she ever going to come down?
She must.
That's Anden Sonnenschein by Schumann.
Do you like this song, Mrs. Forbes?
Isn't that silly of me? I forgot my gloves.
The song, Mrs. Forbes, what does it remind you of?
You came back to see me. How nice. I must see about the champagne before the other guests arrive. He used to sing that song all the time. He loved it.
Who, Mrs. Forbes?
Who, Mrs. Forbes? Who used to sing that song?
Hank. You must know Hank Braun.
When was the last time you saw him?
When was it, Mrs. Forbes? When was the last time you saw Hank Braun?
He had such a nice voice. He came to see Mike. They began to talk, and then they began to argue. Hank was very angry. I never saw him angry before.
What were they arguing about?
Arguing? Who was arguing?
Your husband and Hank. You said they were arguing.
Yes. Yes, they were. It was about the mine. Something about the mine. Hank was shouting, "You've been cheating me. You've been cheating me. I'll prove it."
And then what happened?
They went out. Mike took his gun. I saw him. He got it when Hank wasn't looking. I was frightened. I followed them to the mine. They went in number 3 tunnel. Don't! Mike, don't shoot him! Don't!
What did you tell them?
He was playing one of Hank's songs.
Answer me. What did you tell them?
You know Hermosi Ford?
Stay out of this. What did you say to them?
I told them about poor Hank. He's in number 3 tunnel. They're going to help him.
Forbes's horse.
Well, hello.
What are you doing here, Forbes? We thought the mine was closed.
Well, I'm thinking of reopening it. The new assay report indicates there's enough silver left to make it pay.
Well, we'd like to look at the inside of tunnel number 3.
Of course. Well, what's it all about?
Your wife told us all about tunnel number 3.
You mean about my shooting Hank? Oh, poor Ellen. She's had this wild idea ever since she's been sick. I've tried to reason with her, but, well, it's hopeless.
I still think we ought to look.
I think you should, too, Julie. It might even help convince Ellen.
Let me have that. Well, there's nothing in there.
I told you. Well, it's too bad Ellen has those crazy ideas.
I think I owe you an apology, Mr. Forbes.
Oh, forget it, Mr. Marlowe. You had no way of knowing about my wife.
I guess I owe you an apology, too, Mr. Forbes.
I'm glad you said that, Miss Julie. After all, your father was a friend as well as a partner. I felt pretty bad when you and your mother held it against me for all the things I had to do to straighten things out.
What's that?
Oh, no!
Just a minute, Mike. Well, Mike, you almost got away with it.
Simply wonderful what this music is doing for her, Mrs. Braun. I can see improvement every day.
This piano's turned out to be a blessing for all of us.
Excuse me.
More tea, Ellen?
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
And now, Death Valley Days. Howdy, folks. I'm the Old Ranger, and I have another interesting true story for you about the historic Death Valley country.
Tonight, I'm going to tell you about a little frontier peddler named Isaacs, and how, because of his heroism, a town is born.
It is the year 1867. Maximilian still holds Mexico in his military grip, while President Juarez, with a price on his head, continues his desperate fight for independence.
Is the story you told me about, Sergeant Berrier?
Oui, mon capitaine.
You moved it?
Good morning. Monsieur, Madame Isaacs? Yes. I'm Captain Jacques-François Mollet of Emperor Maximilian's Imperial Army. How do you do? Very interesting shop you have here, monsieur. May I ask, monsieur, what fate made you decide to choose this location?
It wasn't exactly fate. It was Padre Moreno.
Oh, yes.
It was a fortunate day for us when we became acquainted with him, Captain.
It was on the mountain pass out there.
We were discouraged, in complete despair.
We were looking for a place to settle down, a place with promise of a future.
The good Padre not only brought us here, but he helped us with his very own hands to repair this old building.
Now we have a fine business. Oh, excuse me.
Pardon, monsieur.
A fine business. Someday there will be a fine town here.
Sergeant, get these 2 sacks of flour.
Here's the flour.
The total, monsieur?
$94.
There you are, monsieur. A receipt for $94 for taxes paid in full.
Taxes?
What taxes?
Every business must pay taxes, madame. Without them, how could we have a government?
But your government is not my government. This is the United States. You're on the wrong side of the border.
This border, monsieur, there is something you can see?
No, but I understand that it lies somewhere between here and that adobe down the street.
So? And I understand, monsieur, that it lies half a way between here and that adobe up the street.
This is nothing but robbery. You have no authority to collect taxes on American soil.
It would seem to me, monsieur, that I have plenty of authority.
Do not argue with them. Mein Tarinka.
Madame is not only beautiful, but wise.
must help us, Padre. In the name of Mexico and liberty, you must help us.
Please,
I beg...
please, calm yourself, my friend. I cannot help if I cannot understand.
See. I am sorry. There's so little time. I try to save it by talking fast. In the coach, I carry much gold for our country's struggle for freedom. It has much weight, and my horses are tiring. Maximiliano's soldados, they are after us. Will you help us hide it, Padre? Please.
As a man, I would consider it an honor to serve your cause.
Gracias, I will get it.
But as a padre, I cannot jeopardize the neutrality of my church, nor risk the safety of my congregation.
See, you are right, of course. I did not realize what I was asking. Forgive me, Father.
One moment. I know a man you could leave the gold with.
I know many men, but can they be trusted?
This one can. I will take you to him.
It's probably old Gonzalez wanting another bottle of wine.
Yes? It is I, Padre Moreno.
What's wrong, Padre? Forgive me for disturbing you at this hour, Senor Isaacs. But knowing you to be a man of honesty and compassion, I have brought someone who needs your help on a matter of the utmost importance to my country.
What kind of help?
Come, I will introduce you, and he will explain.
People rushing in and out in the middle of the night. What is in those sacks?
I'm hiding something for a friend. Go back to bed.
What kind of something?
Gold.
Gold.
Pardon, senora. Pardon.
Isaacs, gold is a dangerous thing to hide. Who are these men? Smugglers?
Mr. President, may I present my wife, Ruth? This is Benito Juarez, President of Mexico.
President of Mexico.
It is an honor, senora. A great honor to meet the wife of a good man. Excuse me.
I do not understand.
There's no time to explain, but it's a worthwhile deed and needs doing. Ruth, empty the sugar barrel, and don't worry.
I help you.
Those are the last ones. Now we will show Maximiliano's lace soldados that we Mexicanos can ride faster in a cabriolet than they can on horseback.
Senor, I owe you a debt. A debt that I hope someday to be able to repay. Good night.
Good night.
Senora, Padre.
We should be mixing in other people's business.
Fighting tyranny is everybody's business, Senora.
The Mexicans, they are like we were in the old country, oppressed. Would they not be better off without Kazakhs, like that captain who collected illegal taxes?
I'm afraid of that Captain Mollet.
Don't worry, Ruth. Tyrants come, and tyrants go.
Turn out and charge!
axle is broken, sir.
They're taking the gold with them.
His tracks are fresh, Capitan. Go on. We will never catch up with them, mon Capitan. They ride like the wind. No, they ride like men who are not loaded down with heavy gold. But if the gold is not in the wagon back there and not with them, then... You think slow, Sergeant, but correctly. Have our men search this terrain. Question everyone. Torture, kill, burn. Until we find out what the gold is. Oui, mon Capitan.
Capitán, no me martirice, capitán, por favor. Por favor, I remember. Let me down, I remember.
Yes?
The cabriolet. I saw it.
Where?
In front of the store. The Isuka store. Oh.
Sergeant?
Oh.
The store is closed. Váyase. No buying today. I'm trying to be your friend, Monsieur Isaacs. By remaining silent, you forced me to become your enemy.
For 2 hours, you keep asking us the same questions over and over again.
Because he knows the answer.
He doesn't know. I don't know. Nothing. We bother nobody. Inside the store, outside the road. Who knows who passes? You take your soldiers and get out of here.
Control yourself terribly. A black cabriolet stopped in front of the store last night.
How should we know who was in a cabriolet that was not there?
Very funny. Juarez. Benito Juarez. Here? Yes, and you helped him hide the gold. Where did you help Juarez bury that gold? In a cave? Under a tree? Where?
We didn't bury anything in a cave or under a tree.
I am sorry, Captain. I can't help you. Francisco Gonzalez saw the cabriolet in front of the store.
Gonzalez. He lies all the time.
A man doesn't tell lies when he's been tortured, but he's always drunk. A woman as delicate and lovely as you, madame, should not witness things that are unpleasant, such as Sergeant Perrier refreshing your husband's memory.
What are you going to do?
Entrez, madame. Time to the post. Sergeant Perrier. Oui, mon Capitan. Proceed.
Isaac.
My child.
Captain Monet, he's torturing my husband.
But how did he find out?
Gonzalez. He must have seen the cabriolet. Oh, Father, they're beating him. I heard him cry out. You've got to stop them. I can't let him suffer. I'll tell where the gold is.
No, you mustn't. I will do what I can.
Oh, Capitan. Eh bien? He's fainted again. Bring him to. But if I continue, he may die. And then we will never find out where the gold is.
In the name of humanity, Captain, I beg you to stop torturing this man.
Gladly, Padre, as soon as Monsieur Isaac tells me what the gold is.
What did he say?
Bring him some water.
I get it.
Sergeant,
Oui, mon Capitan.
your knife. He can stay or go, as he pleases. He is free.
Oh, Capitan, I do not understand. One moment I torture him, and the next moment you set him free.
I decided to change my strategy, Sergeant.
But, sir, if I were in command, I would search the store.
Of course. That's the way a sergeant's brain works. This Isaacs is a smart man. That gold is in a clever place.
But, Capitan, I do not see how setting him free will find it for us.
That's where my strategy comes in. I told him he was free to stay or leave. Now, if he stays, we know the gold is hidden in some place here.
Aha. And if he chooses to go?
Then we know the gold is not here. We will watch Monsieur Isaacs, never let him out of our sight, and he will eventually lead us to where the gold is hidden.
With a rifle like this, mi Presidente, our soldiers will be able to shoot fast and straight.
The rest of these are like this?
Absolutely, Mr. Juarez.
I'm ready to sign the contract.
These rifles have been very hard to get, sir. I'll have to ask for payment on delivery.
I'm prepared for that. Jose, take the men and get the gold from Senor Izux.
Si, mi Presidente. We can take these? Go ahead. Cojan los rifles.
You ready to leave, monsieur?
We are ready to leave.
There is nothing more you wish to take with you?
Nothing.
Alors.
What are you doing?
Looking for gold, madame. Surely you have not forgotten so soon.
Someday, Captain, I will...
Nothing, mon Capitan.
You may go, monsieur. Madame, in the empty wagon.
It's a broken axle. Now I understand why Captain Mollet was so sure I knew about the gold.
Isaacs, I have been worried about the gold. With no one in the store, I hope Padre Marino will not leave it in that sugar barrel too long.
It's not in the barrel, Typon.
You moved it? Where to?
I put it in the same place we hid our valuables when we came west.
Why did you not tell me this before?
For the same reason, I did not tell the padre. I thought it would be better if neither of you carried around the burden of such a secret.
Where are we taking it?
To Juarez, if I can find him.
You do not know where he is?
No.
Are we just going to go riding around looking for him?
I would rather ride around looking for him than sit at the store waiting for him. Giddy up.
I see nothing but wagon tracks, Capitan. Do they not mean anything to you, Sergeant? Well, they mean, a wagon has gone by. Sergeant, an empty wagon does not sink so deep in the mud. But the wagon is empty, Capitan. We saw. We did not see enough. After.
Maximiliano! ¡Ándale! ¡Ándale! Don't wait for me. Go after the goal. We'll be back soon, Pablo.
Senor Isaacs is an honest man. He would not steal the gold. Come, I show you where we hid it. Right here at the bottom of this barrel. It's not there?
So, the senor would not steal, eh?
You don't understand. They tortured him until he almost died and he would not tell.
He would not tell because he wanted it for himself. And now we lose the chance to win back our country. I swear to you, I will catch this thief. And when I do... Whoa! The gold, senor. Where's the gold?
Right here, my friend.
Ay, madre mia. I owe you 1,000 pardons, senor. I never thought I'd see the gold again.
And I never want to see it again.
No, do not go. It can be nothing but trouble.
If it is trouble, it will come whether I answer the door or not. Yes?
Mr. Juarez.
Senora. Senora. As usual, I travel in a hurry. But I could not pass through without stopping to thank you personally for what you have done in the fight for freedom in my country. Thank you, Senor. Jesus. I am sorry. I have trouble saying your name properly.
Everyone around here has trouble saying it, Mr. Juarez.
I guess I will have to change it.
If you will do that, senor, it will still be another service for which we would be grateful. Vaya con Dios.
Goodbye.
Good luck.
And for the benefit of his customers, Isaacs did change his name to Walnut, or in Spanish to Nogal. And today, the memory of this heroic peddler is kept alive on both sides of the border by the towns of Nogales, Arizona, and Nogales, Mexico. Howdy, folks. I'm the Old Ranger with an exciting new story of real life in the Old West.
I've often wished, while bringing you these stories, that there could be some way of letting you see and hear the actual people whose adventures we have shown. A man like Bill Tillman, for instance, the famous marshal of the last frontier, 50 years a peace officer. Bill's gone, of course, but Mrs. Tillman is still very much with us. And now, I have the proud honor of presenting Mrs. Tillman of Oklahoma City.
Thank you. And to answer what I know you're wondering, I'm 84.
Oh, thank you. Mrs. Tillman, you shared a lot of the marshal's adventures with him, didn't you?
Oh, yes, we were pioneers together back in the early days of Oklahoma.
What would you consider Bill's outstanding achievement as a peace officer?
Just to stay alive, I suppose, especially in those years when he was a marshal at Dodge City. Wiping out the Doolin gang is a thing most people remember, but I think one of the finest things my Bill ever did involved a wedding dress. It was back when the Cherokee Strip had just been opened to settlement, and my Bill and his partner, Heck Thomas, were out hunting down the last of the Doolin gang.
Hey, Bill. You know, I'm dogged if I can figure you out. Yeah, we've been fighting a regular war with the Doolins for nigh on to 3 years, and all of a sudden you turn around and start dealing out pardons to any one of his gang that'll come in.
We've got a whole new population of settlers to look after, Heck. If granting amnesty to a few outlaws will secure the peace, well, it's a good deal for everybody, especially Bill Doolin.
Well, I just can't see him coming in and giving up.
This Rip Collins did most of his dirty work. If he gets off free, Doolin will follow him in just like Mary's little lamb. Somebody just looked over the edge of that hill. It's probably Collins sizing us up. Put that away.
Hell, I know this man. He's bad medicine.
Put it away.
All right. Never say I didn't warn you.
Ready to talk now, Collins?
Come on up, Marshal. You come alone.
We'll be right back.
You hope.
What's the deal, Marshal? Come in. Behave yourself. We'll let bygones be bygones.
I don't know. I've been riding with Bill Doolin a long time now. And I can tell you right now, he's awful mad the way you've been calling all his friends over to your side.
The Doolin gang is through, Collins.
We're not through. You are.
That just gravels me that one no-good, sneaky hyena and set everything back 20 years.
Drink your coffee, dear. It's getting cold.
No. Nobody will ever know what I tried to do up there. All they'll remember is that I outdrew.
Well, it was his life or yours. Yours is much more important to me.
People have got to learn to respect the law itself, or we're right back where we were in Dodge. The fastest gun rule the roost.
Remember what they put on old Hoss Williams' headstone? He done his darndest. Angels can do no more.
I am a dying cowboy, and I ain't got long to live. Howdy, Miss T. Hi, Phil. You still down in the dumps?
You'll get over it.
Well, I got just the medicine for it. They located Bill Doolin.
Where?
Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
How do you know?
Remember when Capshaw's bank was stuck up last fall?
I sure do.
Well, Ed Purdy was the bookkeeper. He saw Doolin's face up this close. Yesterday, Purdy saw the same face again in Eureka Springs. He caught the next train back to tell Capshaw all about it. Capshaw's over at the office now, raring for action.
You'll get it. Bye, sweetheart.
Bill Tillman, you're not leaving this house until you've finished your breakfast. No, you're not going to go to work on an empty stomach. Now, you sit down here and eat. Come on. And I want you home by Saturday, too.
What's Saturday?
Millie Lou's wedding. I promised you'd be there.
If I bring Doolin in.
You will, darling. All of it?
Can I go now?
Yes, you can go now.
Thanks.
Bye, Miss T.
Yeah, here it is. Federal warrant, William Doolin. I just got time to catch that train to Eureka. She's all yours, Heck. I should be back by tomorrow.
You're not going alone.
If I left here with a posse, the word would spread. Doolin would be headed for Tall Timber before I got halfway there.
Marshal, you listen to me. This Doolin's a desperate man. He's not only sworn never to be taken alive, he's even sworn to kill me for shooting one of his men during the holdup. Now you're taking a posse, a big posse, and you're going in shooting. I'll pay for it.
Mr. Capshaw, this is my responsibility, and I'll handle it my way.
Oh, thank goodness we caught you in time. Bill, something terrible's happened. Millie Lou's wedding dress has been stolen right out of the mail.
It's all right here in this telegram from the postal inspector.
Honey, I'm already on a case. I can't possibly get...
But this is important. Read it, you'll see.
Sorry to report no trace of dress. Mail thieves very active. Stop. Believe stolen. John Harlan, postal inspector.
Well?
Well, Harlan's a good officer. If he says it's stolen, it's gone.
But it mustn't be. Bill, this was Millie Lou's grandmother's wedding dress. Now, the poor dear soul couldn't make the trip here for the wedding, so she mailed the dress for Millie Lou to be married in.
My mother was married in it, too. And it's been saved all this time, just for me. Oh, I don't know what to do. I just couldn't be married in any other dress.
Oh. No, dear. My Bill will get the dress for you.
Darling, I'm on my way to...
Oh, but it isn't just a dress. It's all my hopes. All my dreams.
Bill, the poor child must have the dress. You've got to get it for her. Please.
When's the last you heard of this dress?
Well, Grandma wrote me 3 weeks ago that she had just mailed it.
Now, just a moment. Bill Tillman, if you drop this Doolin case just when we have our hands on him to go traipsing off after some silly girl's wedding dress, I'll get you fired if it's the last thing I ever do.
You listen to me. You so much as open your mouth about my bill, and I'll have you tarred, feathered, and ridden out of town on a rail.
That'll do. Mrs. Tillman, your husband is a federal lawman.
Sworn to protect the Constitution, which gives everybody equal rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So he's just as much bound to protect Millie Lou's happiness as your old money bags. Maybe more so. Isn't that so?
Sure is. Couldn't have said it better myself. Get your hat, Hick.
Tillman, I have power in this country. All I have to do is wire United States Marshal Nix, and he'll land right on your neck.
Last I heard, Marshal Nix was in Guthrie. His secretary will know where he is if he isn't there.
Very well, then. I'll wire him immediately.
The telegraph office is right down the street.
Oh.
The old windbag.
Now, Millie Lou, what does this dress look like so we'll know what we're hunting for?
Well, it's white lace, completely made by hand. And it's kind of snug through here with a little bustle in the back. And then the sleeves are sort of puffy up here, but then it get real narrow down towards the wrist. And then up here...
Ooh, just handmade white lace. That's all we'll need. Now, where was the mail from?
Cloud Chief, 3 weeks ago today.
Ooh, Cloud Chief. That's over 100 miles away without any railroad. Well, we'll have to get a move on if we want to get back here by Saturday.
Oh, listen, Bill, I ain't no hand at hunting wedding dresses. Heck, I've been running away from them ever since I was old enough to shave.
Done. You're in charge while we're gone.
Me? In charge? But I've always been on the other side of the law.
Fine. You just keep your eyes open. If you see any of your old pals, run them in. Bye, Hank.
Bye.
Don't worry, we'll get the dress back.
Do you suppose they really can get my dress back for me?
My bill can do anything.
Question the different carriers along the route.
Every one of them personally. Of course, they all plead innocent, but one of them's lying. Well, these aren't regular mail carriers, you understand. They're farmers and others who take on the job part-time for $10 a month and feed their own mules.
It's still a criminal offense.
And whoever's guilty is mighty slick about it. They just untie a package, take out what they want, tie it up again, and send it along. So you can't figure out where along the line it was rifled. Mail changes hands at every way station.
Well, Marshal, what are we going to do now?
Have you tried sending a decoy package through? Opening it at each relay to see if anything's missing?
No, I hadn't thought of that.
And that's what we're going to do. We're going to fix up a nice, tempting package. Baited with stuff like this, they'll never resist opening it. And we'll tie this package up real good and strong. Put a dot in each one of these nuts. There. Now, if anyone ever does open this package, they won't be able to tie it up again with those dots in the right places.
7 pounds, 8 ounces. That's another way to check.
You got a list of those relay stations?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Let's hope we're lucky enough to hit it at one of the first stops. There's awful little time between now and that wedding.
Well, I can promise you that package will be on the mail hack the first thing in the morning.
We'll be waiting for it at Harper's Wells. Come on, Nick.
Now? In the middle of the night?
You got all next winter to catch up in your sleep. Night.
Good night.
The next morning, the decoy package started on its way from Cloud Chief to the first relay station at Harper's Wells, where Bill was waiting impatiently to inspect it. The package hadn't been tampered with. All the ink dots were in place. Nothing to do but ride on to the next station, and the next, and the next, always keeping ahead of the mail, checking at each point, finding nothing. A precious day went by, and a night. The second day found them at Baylor's Crossing.
Bill, this is the weightingest job we ever had.
You realize that wedding's tomorrow at noon? It's cutting it awfully fine.
Marshal Hicks could see us now. He probably fires just for looking so comfortable.
I'll never be able to face that girl without the dress. When I think of the look in her eyes. Mail always this late?
Nope. Sometimes it's later. Sometimes it don't get here at all. Depends on how drunk Jim Roberts happens to be.
Guess there's nothing we can do but wait.
Funny they haven't opened that package. You suppose they found out about us?
I don't see how. Storekeepers are all on our side. After all, they lose more stuff than anybody. Kept ahead of the drivers.
What are we going to do if nobody ever opens the package?
And then we'll go back and search every driver. Every driver's house. Every possible place that dress could be until we find it. Now, it may delay the wedding a little, but I value my wife's good opinion of me far too highly ever to break one of her promises.
Oh!
It's the mail. Back easy. Dots are all washed away.
Well, that's Roberts for you. He just leaves it set out, rain or no rain. He don't care.
Feels light.
Pistols gone.
So are the cartridges.
Well, that's Roberts for you. He'd steal the eye teeth right out of your mouth if he thought they had gold in them.
Where's he live?
First house, the other side of Whipple's Run. Hey, you forgot your package.
Anybody home?
Guess not. Strange anybody leave a house wide open like this. Must be food cooking on the stove. Sure smells good.
Never mind that. Let's find that dress.
Doesn't seem to be anywhere here.
We must have hidden it in some special place. You try the barn. I'll go through the house here.
Jim, there's a couple of lawmen searching the house.
Well, they got a nerve. Breaking into a man's house. I'll blast them all.
Look out, Jim!
You all right, Heck?
Why, sure. I would have killed him, except then he wouldn't have been able to tell us where the wedding dress is.
I got a hunch he knows a lot more.
Ma! Hey, Ma! Come on, hurry up. That's the second time they've rung for us.
They'll just have to ring. I can't budge Millie Lou an inch.
Keep them waiting any longer, and his folks will call the whole thing off.
Paul, they couldn't.
Oh, couldn't they? They're plumb disgusted with all this wedding dress nonsense. So am I.
Millie Lou, please wear this dress. We can't wait any longer. Do you want to be jilted, dying old maid? It's bad luck to postpone the wedding.
I can't help it, Ma. That dress is just as much a part of getting married as a wedding ring. Oh, stop ringing those bells.
I can't understand it. My bill's never been this late before.
Millie Lou! Millie Lou!
Bill!
Edge. All right, shut up. We're coming. Hey, come on up there. What's keeping you now?
She's coming, she's coming. Oh, Bill. She's beautiful. Look.
Thank you, Marshal. Thank you.
Oh, careful there. You get yourself all hoarse. I've been riding quite a spell.
Come on, let's go.
Now, as soon as you're finished with Marshal Nix, you get right on over to the church.
Marshal Nix?
Oh, yes, he's been waiting for you since day before yesterday. Now, you be patient with him.
I told you I'd wire Marshal Nix, and here he is.
Did you get the dress?
Yes, sir.
If you'd gone after Doolin, you'd have had him instead, wouldn't you?
Yes, sir. I think so.
Tillman, of all the officers in my command, you are the one man I felt sure I could always depend on. I assigned you to this Doolin case knowing that you'd stick to it, forever if need be, but that you'd get that man sure as death. Now, just when you practically got your hands on him, you go flying off without rhyme or reason to look for some silly wedding dress. I've got 160 men in my command, and if they all went gallivanting around doing just as they pleased, I'm sorry, Tillman. You leave me no alternative.
Marshal Nix?
Yes, what is it?
I thought this is important, so I brought it right over.
This is great. Through capture of Roberts, have obtained names of all Confederates and cleaned up mail robbery ring. Now that's what I call perfect police work. Quick, silent, deadly. No fuss or feathers. Congratulations to Bill Tillman for a brilliant job. Signed, John Harlan, Postal Inspector. Well, it's like they say. Give a man luck, and he can have soup for brains.
Yes, sir.
But don't you ever do it again.
Now, wait a minute. What about Doolin?
Yes,
I just got time to make that eastbound train for Eureka, if I hurry.
Marshal Nix, will you tell this stubborn mule that no one man can take Doolin? I say send a posse, a big posse, and go in there shooting.
Oh, you might as well put it in the papers and go in with a brass band. Even going alone, I may be recognized.
No.
Well, maybe I ought to use a disguise.
Disguise?
Yeah. You're just about my size.
Now, wait a minute, Tillman.
Marshal, you shouldn't allow this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking for my bill.
He went that away.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Here, I brought you a piece of wedding cake.
Not now, honey. I'm in a big hurry.
Mrs. Tillman, would you please tell this husband of yours it's ridiculous trying to take Doolin single-handed? He'll get his head blown off.
It's suicide.
If my bill says he can do it, he can do it.
Bye, honey.
I'll bet he brings Doolin back alive at that.
My bill can do anything.
And he did. You must have been very proud of your husband, Mrs. Tillman.
I still am. There'll never be another man like my Bill.
Howdy, folks. I'm the Old Ranger with an exciting new story of real life in the Old West. Not all the excitement in the early West centered around cowboys and Indians or outlaws and peace officers. There were other conflicts, perhaps not so well known, but just as dramatic and just as important to the future of the country. Like the story you're about to hear of a woman who fought to avenge her husband and wound up winning a major battle everywhere for a woman's rights. It began in the frontier town of South Pass, territory of Wyoming, in the gun-toting year of 1869. Men gambled their lives on finding gold. Others, like storekeeper John Morris, gambled their life savings grub-staking men like
Steve Nelson. You're arraigned here on charges for defrauding John Morris, a storekeeper, of his legitimate half-interest in the Minnetonka mine. Well, now, that's a pretty serious accusation.
Your Honor, the defendant pleads not guilty and asks that the charges against him be dismissed for lack of evidence.
Your Honor.
Mr. Prosecutor?
There's plenty of evidence to support these charges. John Morris grubstaked Steve Nelson.
Oh, there was a written agreement?
No, sir, but I have witnesses who will testify.
Well, sure, I got my outfit at John Morris's store, but I paid for everything. Cash on the barrelhead.
Well, in the absence of a written agreement, it comes down to one man's opinion against another.
The claim that Nelson located was legally filed in both names.
There's no mention in the records of John Morris.
No, sir, because those papers were tampered with. The files in the recorder's office were rifled.
Your Honor, I have here a signed statement from the county recorder, who is regrettably confined to his bed with a bad case of laryngitis. In his opinion, it would be impossible to rifle the office files and change the existing records without being detected.
Your Honor, if you will order those files produced in court.
The court is willing to accept the opinion of the county recorder in this matter.
John Morris produced the capital for the necessary development work.
All it took was 2 arms and a strong back.
But there was machinery. A drill, a couple of shovels.
Enough to use up John Morris's savings.
The contents of a piggy bank.
Your Honor, as representative of the people of this territory, I demand that Steve Nelson be brought to trial.
Now, look here, young fella. You're new around here. You'd know better than to try to intimidate the court. Now, any further such demands from you, and I'll hold you in contempt.
Your Honor, denial of justice in this case can well affect the whole future welfare of this territory.
And so can the dragging of useless litigation through the courts, wasting the taxpayers' money.
I agree. Case dismissed. Court will adjourn.
If you'd like to reconvene at the Buckhorn, the drinks are on me.
Sorry, John.
You did your best.
It's outrageous a man like that should hold the office of judge.
Well, McGreevy's got him right where he wants him.
There must be something we can do.
There is. Pull up stakes and get out of here.
John,
Yeah?
did you mean what you just said?
About leaving Wyoming? Yes.
Where would we go?
Back where we came from. Back to New England, where a man can lead a respectable life.
I hate to think of leaving here. I've grown to love this country. I think of it as home.
Esther, what's the good of scenery if a man can't make an honest living for himself and his family? What's all the ruckus?
Lucretia Mott and her suffragettes.
What'll that silly woman think of next?
I don't think she's so silly. She's fighting for what she believes in, women's rights.
She ought to be trying to get some decent law and order in this town.
Maybe this is her way of getting it. Hello, Esther. Evening, John. Hello, Lucretia.
Come along, Esther. We have work to do before we leave here. "14 glass chimneys and 5 lamps. "7 bolts of calico and 3 of gingham.
If you try and unload all of this, you're going to lose money.
Lost so much already, it doesn't much matter.
Hello, Lucretia.
Good evening, Esther. Can I come in?
Well, of course.
Now, you folks go right on with your work. I just want to have a few words with John. I heard about what happened in court today. What are you planning to do about it?
Esther and I are leaving here for good.
Running away?
You can call it that.
Well, why don't you stay and fight?
Lucretia, I've been fighting ever since I came here 2 years ago. And the result? I've got less than when I started. 7 whisk rooms.
If you want to clean this town up, there's just one way to do it. Help women get the votes.
Lucretia, you know my feelings on that subject. Politics are a man's domain.
Parrot talk.
A woman's place is in the home.
Well, then what is Esther doing here?
Well, this is a family enterprise.
Oh, now look, John.
And we'd like to get this inventory finished tonight.
Poor John, he's suffering from an old disease, maleness.
All right, all right.
Now, in my opinion, John, you'd show much more maleness if, instead of repeating those old, worn-out sentiments, you'd stand up for what you honestly and truly believe in your heart is right. And you know you do, John.
Yeah, there's a soapbox over there, Lucretia.
We'll put you on it when you go to battle for us.
6 mugs.
We think that the Wyoming legislature would pass a suffrage bill if we just had the right man to present one. And now we do have.
4 vases and 4 pitchers.
It's you.
What are you talking about?
Why, you're just the ideal man to lead a crusade like that. A man folks respect as well as like.
How many pitchers did I say?
I'm sorry, John. I was listening to Lucretia.
He said 4 base. Well, how about it, John? Are you willing to stand for office?
I'm sorry, Lucretia. We're pulling out.
Esther, you know how much this could mean, not only for Wyoming, but for the whole country. Now tell John he's got to do it. It's his moral duty.
Well, Lucretia, I think this is something my husband should decide for himself.
Well, I hope you change your mind, John. Good night.
Good night, Lucretia.
There's a piece of paper around this rock. It's a note. This is a warning, Morris. Get out of town and stay out, or we'll make it hot for you.
Let me see that.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to find out who's responsible for this.
You cannot fight McGreevy and his gang alone.
Well, one thing's certain, I'm not leaving.
Good. Then maybe you will be our candidate. It's the only way to deal with these people.
I'd like to see you do it.
All right, I will. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a politician. I'm just a plain citizen interested in clean government. Hey! And if I'm elected, I promise to do everything in my power to drive the crooks and highbinders out of this territory.
Hey, Morris! When did you join the suffragettes?
When I made up my mind, it was the only way to fight men like you. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the only ammunition our opponents have to offer.
Much obliged, man.
Have another one. It's on me.
Well, maybe just one more.
Who are you voting for, Jim?
Ain't quite made up my mind, Ben.
Just make sure you don't vote more than once.
See you, Ben.
How McGreevy has the nerve to...
Well, how's the temperance candidate? Giving out white ribbons for votes? How can you stand it, Mrs. Morris, being married to such a holy man?
Get moving, Nelson.
Lips that touch liquor will never touch mine.
I said get moving.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Billings. I sure didn't mean to get in the way of a vote for Honest John. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Billings. Gosh, I don't know how that happened. Here, let me get your hat. Here's your hat, Mr. Billings. Mr. Billings, you shouldn't lose your temper, not on election day. Here. This is cool you off. Have a sip. Or take it all. All right.
I'll see who it is.
We won, Lucretia. John won the election.
Wonderful. That should be just the medicine for John.
Right.
He won, Esther. He won.
He's gone, Lucretia. John's dead.
Hooray for John Morris! Come on out, John! Come on! Come on, John!
We understand how you feel, Esther, but we wish you'd think it over about leaving. For a while, at least.
I have thought it over. But you belong here, Esther. This has become home to you. You've said so many times.
It's not home anymore.
We've persuaded Governor Lee to introduce a suffrage bill in the legislature. If it passes, things could be very different in this territory.
It'll never pass.
It might, if we had someone there to fight for it. Don't you want to finish what you and John set out to do?
John was right to begin with. You can't fight men like McGreevy with speeches about equal rights, and if I'd listened to him, he might be alive today. Now, all I want to do is get away from here and forget. I can.
What about Steve Nelson's trial? Certainly you'll stay for that.
You bet I will. And for the hanging, I expect to follow it. This is one case Judge Wheeler won't dismiss for lack of evidence.
And now, Mrs. Morris, would you be so kind as to tell the court in your own words exactly what happened at that point?
At that point, he drew a gun and shot my husband in the back. It was cold-blooded murder.
Objection. Conclusion of the witness.
Sustained.
Your witness, Mr. McGreevy?
No questions.
That'll be all, Mrs. Morris.
I don't understand this. They're not fighting.
Your Honor, in light of the evidence presented in this preliminary hearing, the prosecution requests that the defendant in this case be brought to trial for first-degree murder.
If the court please, we'd like to call the defendant to the stand.
Raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, Mr. Nelson, let's see if we can't save the taxpayers some money and the court a little time. Now, you've heard the evidence the prosecution offered. Half a dozen people testified that you shot and killed John Morris here in South Pass on Election Day. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Then you plead guilty to a murder charge.
Oh, no, sir. That shooting was in the line of duty.
Duty?
Well, I was officially assigned to guard the polling place during the election. Morris was interfering with me in the performance of my duty.
I object, Your Honor. There's no evidence that this man was working as a guardian of the law.
Your Honor, may I remind you that as Registrar of Voters, you yourself appointed Steve Nelson a poll watcher on the day of election?
So I did. It had slipped my mind for the moment.
Your Honor, we concede that the defendant in this case was a little overzealous in discharging his responsibility. But we submit that under the circumstances, a charge of murder is wholly unwarranted. We ask the court to release the defendant and render a verdict of justifiable homicide.
Your Honor, I object. This is not a defense. It's a cheap legal trick. I demand that Nelson stand trial for murder.
Order. Order in the court. The court will stand in recess while I consider this question.
How long a recess?
Until I come to a decision.
That could take forever.
Then who is the judge here, you or me? Court is in recess until further notice.
I didn't think they'd dare.
I didn't either. A lot of things I've been wrong about. Come on.
Where are we going?
See the governor.
The governor?
John couldn't run away. I can't either.
Then you're back in the fight?
I certainly am, and this time I'm staying in it till we win.
Wait for me!
And as you all know, endorsement of the suffrage bill by this committee would virtually ensure its passage by the legislature. And so I ask you, in the interests of justice and good government, to grant that endorsement.
Women are too flighty. Scatterbrain. You couldn't trust them with a vote.
What's the meaning of this?
Are you Governor Lee?
I am.
I'm Esther Morris of South Pass. I'm sorry to break in like this, but I heard that you were debating the suffrage bill, and I had something I wanted to say before you made your final decision.
So you're Esther Morris. I knew your husband, a fine man. Gentlemen, I think this lady should be heard. Mrs. Morris?
This is not the time or place for demonstrations.
I'm not here to demonstrate, sir. I'm here to try and do something about the lawlessness and the corruption that infest this territory, and I know of only one sure way to do that. Give women the legal right to a say in things.
You really think passing this bill would put an end to all our troubles?
Only the good Lord can do that, sir. But at least this bill will enlist all women on the side of law and order.
All women? What makes you so sure of that?
They have to vote that way. They have no choice. Men can sometimes solve their problems with their fists or with a gun. But women have to find peaceful means because they're weak and often helpless. I don't say that women won't make mistakes, but in the long run, they will bring to politics in this territory the point of view of those interested in building up, not tearing down, of preserving, not destroying. Gentlemen, give women a chance to fight for what they believe in. Give them a chance to defend their homes with the only weapon they can wield effectively. Give them the vote. Thank you for listening.
I'm proud of you, honey.
Mrs. Morris, you're a very effective speaker. I have a feeling this committee will endorse the suffrage bill.
Oh, I hope so.
You should be in politics yourself.
Never. There is one thing you could do for me, though, Governor Lee. Something important to the people of South Pass.
If it's within my power. Why don't you wait for me in my office? I should be through here presently.
I'll be there.
Court will come to order. The court is now ready to make a ruling in respect to the case of Territory versus Steve Nelson.
And the court finds that the defendant was actually serving as an officer of the law at the time of the alleged murder.
And therefore, what is the meaning of this intrusion? Court is in session.
I don't know what you are about to rule on, Judge Wheeler, but in any case, it wouldn't be legal. Here is an order from Governor Lee removing you as judge and appointing me to serve in your place. If you don't mind, I'll take over right now.
Well, I had it coming to me. I've been a disgrace to my profession.
The gavel, please.
Once a man starts slipping, well, I'm glad to be replaced.
Steve Nelson, step up, please.
Your Honor, I protest. This court is prejudiced against Steve Nelson.
You're right, Mr. McGreevy. I am prejudiced. So much so that I have arranged to have Steve Nelson's case transferred to Judge Simpson's court in Laramie. You'll find Judge Simpson's only prejudice is against injustice.
Your Honor, the Nelson case can be taken off the calendar.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Nelson asked for what he got. But I want you all to know that I didn't ask for this job. Governor Lee persuaded me to take it. However, now that I have got it, I intend to take it seriously. That means that from now on, this court will be a court of law, and anyone who tries to influence it will find himself in serious trouble. Do I make myself clear, Mr. McGreevy? Next case, Mr. Billings.
Yes, sir. Widowed and riding side saddle. Esther Morris of South Pass practically stampeded the Wyoming legislature into granting women the right to vote, and was appointed the first female judge in the United States. And all this happened in 1869, more than 50 years before the Union got around to granting woman's suffrage. And now, Death Valley Days. Howdy, folks. I'm the Old Ranger, and I have another interesting true story for you about the historic Death Valley country. There's all kinds of water in the desert. Some of it's good and some of it's bad. Could make a man deathly sick, even be fatal. You can't always tell by the taste, because often water that's safe to drink may have a bitter or brackish or musty taste. That's why on the old maps they'd mark certain water holes poison and set up signs to warn folks off. Like at the place that figures in this story of Arsenic Spring. Deceptively cool and tempting on this hot June Sunday, when Mary Butler and Dan Crosby stop on their ride out from the nearby camp of Granite Peak.
You still haven't answered my question yet, Mary. Will you marry me?
Dan, I don't know what to say.
You certainly know me well enough. Working in the bank together for the past year.
I wonder.
What do you mean?
Oh, I know you're honest and hardworking and reliable.
I love you so much, darling. Being so close to you, it's sometimes more than I can bear.
Well, I think I love you too, Dan.
You think?
Oh, I want to be sure.
Well, what do you want me to do? Go out and fight Indians for you or discover a gold mine?
Well, not this week, anyway. You're going to have your hands full managing the bank while Mr. Medford's away. I do think it's a great compliment he pays you, leaving you in charge.
Since I am the only man in the bank, he didn't have much choice.
It's a big responsibility and good training against the day when you'll be a bank manager yourself.
You do have that much confidence in me, then?
Oh, Dan. We better go. It isn't fair to let the horses stand there within the sight of water that they can't even drink.
It isn't fair to make a man wait too long either, darling.
I'll try to give you my answer soon.
Boss not in yet? It's 9 o'clock.
Mr. Medford's away.
Away? When'll he be back?
Not till the end of the week. He had to go to Independence on business.
Is there anybody else here?
Mr. Crosby will take care of you.
Good morning.
I've got some gold on deposit. I want to take it out. There's a receipt.
Michael Sweeney, 42 ounces. I'll get it for you.
Be sure you bring the right folk. I got 3 of them in there. Weigh it.
If you wish.
I do wish. Short. A whole ounce underweight.
That's funny. Yeah, it's the same sack.
Jimmy, somebody's been tampering with it.
They couldn't, Mr. Sweeney. It's been locked up in the safe ever since you left it with us.
Murder and turf. This ain't gold. It's just dirt. Plain, ordinary dirt. Somebody's taken my gold and put this junk back in its place.
Can't believe it.
Well, look for yourself. I've been robbed, I have. Bring my other sacks from the safe.
Yes, sir.
Here's a fine kettle of fish. A man leaves his gold with the bank and they steal it from him.
What'd you say?
If you have anything in the safe, you better check on it, Briggs.
Hey, Crosby, you bring me my poke, too. It's got my name on it, Newton Briggs. Me, too. They've rooked me, too, to the tune of $5,000.
I don't understand.
You don't you?
Why, nobody has access to the safe.
Nobody?
Well, I mean...
You have, I notice.
Of course I do, but...
You wait till the boss's back is turned, and then go in there and clean out the customer's gold.
No.
And stuff a lot of rubbish in its place. You thieving pack rat.
Now, just a minute, Mr. Sweeney.
You have no right to accuse Dan of this.
You keep out of this, Miss Butler.
You might just as well accuse me. I work here, too.
What did you do with the gold, Crosby?
I don't know any more about this than you do.
You fork over that gold of mine, do you hear?
And mine, too. Those were all my savings.
Now, gentlemen.
Where are you going?
To tell the world.
No!
I told you to stay out of this, Miss Butler.
Do you want to start a panic?
Out of my way, you crook.
Dan! Dan!
Hey, the bank's been robbed! The bank's been robbed! Hey, the bank's been robbed! The bank's been robbed! The bank's been robbed! The bank's been robbed! Take them out and string them up. Get a rope!
No! No! You mustn't! No! No! Father, stop him!
You can't lynch this fella.
He's robbed us all.
You've got no proof. Our gold's gone, ain't it?
He's the only one here. He's as guilty as sin.
That's for the judge to decide. You can't take the law in your own hands.
Stand back.
If you hang this man, you may never find out where your gold went to.
What's going on here?
You're a deputy, Herb. Arrest this man. Lock him up, out of harm's way.
Oh, yes, please.
What's the charge?
Larceny.
He's robbed the bank.
Thank my eye, he's robbed us.
No.
Where's Mr. Medford?
He's out of town on business. He won't be back till Thursday.
All right.
Better close the bank, don't you think?
Yeah, lock everything up. I'll post a guard outside. All right, stand back. Let us through.
One thing's for sure. I ain't sitting around here on my tail for the next 4 days till Medford gets back.
What do you propose to do?
Ride over to Independence and fetch him. Tell him what's happened.
Why Independence?
Well, that's where he went, you fool.
He wasn't headed for Independence when I met him.
When was that?
Yesterday morning, Sunday. I run into him up towards Quail Valley. Said he's a-going hunting. He had a gun along.
I don't like the smell of this.
Well, you don't think Mr. Medford's the man that done the job? Mr. Medford?
If it ain't Crosby, it's bound to be him. One or the other.
Or both of them. In cahoots.
Yeah, that's right.
I'd like to see Mr. Crosby, Herb.
All right, but only for a couple of minutes. Just want to make sure.
Well, I could hardly conceal a hacksaw in this basket.
Mary.
I brought you something to eat. How's your head?
Oh, better. My brain is beginning to work again. Mary, there's only one person that could have stolen that gold.
Yes, Mr. Medford.
It's hard to believe. It couldn't have been anybody else.
We gotta talk fast, Dan. I can only stay a few minutes.
What's happening in town?
Sweeney and the others are all on the Pioneer drinking.
Meanwhile, Medford is putting the miles between himself and Granite Peak.
I'm scared, Dan.
Of what?
When he doesn't show up, they may take it out on you. They could rush the jail.
Honey, this isn't a case of murder.
They've lost all their money, Dan. I could drive men to most anything.
Time's up, miss.
The only way you can clear yourself is get Medford. Make him confess.
That chance I've got of that. Locked up in here.
Miss Butler.
Just a few seconds, Herb. Thank you, Herb. Will someone be on guard here all night?
Well, there's no need for that.
No, of course not. Oh, another thing. Is it all right if I go into the bank to clean up a little work?
Sure, I don't see why not.
Thank you.
If we're going after Medford, we better get started. It's nearly noon.
Yeah, he's already got a 24-hour start on us.
It's a mighty big country to look for somebody.
If we don't find him, we'll put the screws on that young bank teller. At least we got him where we want him, behind bars.
Father, come in.
All right, I'm here. Now, what did you want to show me?
You don't believe Dan's guilty?
No, I don't.
It was Mr. Medford.
But we have no proof, my dear.
He's the only other one who had access to the safe. He's been sneaking that gold out of here for months, a few bags at a time.
Could have had an accomplice.
Oh, Father.
Well, that's what they're saying now. Again, I don't believe it.
Dan's as innocent as I am. Well, you should have seen his face when they opened those sacks and found them full of dirt. That's what I want to show you, Father. You prospected every square foot of the country around here before you had your accident. Well, you know a lot about geology. Can you identify this dirt?
Well, it's not pay dirt, if that's what you mean. The dark gray is limestone.
And the pink crystals?
Pink quartzite. The black is flint.
That unusual?
I only know of one location around here where such a formation can be found. Boundary Canyon.
Then that's where the gold was taken.
What?
The dirt in all the sacks is alike. That means that whoever filled them went to the same place each time, emptied out the gold and substituted this.
You're probably right.
How far is the canyon from here?
A few hours' ride.
You see, he could have gone there and back on a Sunday without anyone knowing.
So could Dan, my dear.
Oh, Father.
I'm just trying to point out to you that any arguments you use against Medford could apply equally to Dan.
But if he were caught red-handed, Mr. Medford, I mean, trailed to the canyon, then that'd prove it.
Too bad you didn't think of that before they left.
Who?
Sweeney and his posse rode out here a little while ago looking for Medford.
Which direction did they take?
Quail Valley.
Oh, then they'll never find him.
Chances are he's already heading for the border. Lord, what I'd give for 2 good legs.
Oh, you've been a wonderful help, Father.
See you in the morning, Dan.
Yes, never touch me.
Boundary Canyon's where the dirt came from. He may be hiding there. There's a gun and belt and food and saddlebags and a canteen.
Bless you, darling.
Oh, hurry. Yes? What is it, Father?
Don't tell me you didn't hear the explosion.
Explosion?
Someone blew off the front door of the jail. Dan's escaped.
My goodness.
It was a fool thing to do, whoever did it.
Why?
The posse's bound to pick him up. Now he'll never be able to prove his innocence.
What the heck are you doing here?
Looking for you, Mr. Medford. Could be I came to the right spot. So here's where you cashed it.
Cashed what?
The $56,000 in gold which you embezzled from the bank.
Are you crazy?
Right out from under my nose, too. Very slick of you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You want me to spell it out for you? Very well. You've been smuggling customers' gold out of that safe little by little, for heaven knows how long. Bringing it here and filling up the bags with dirt. Oh, very carefully, weighing them to the ounce. And I suppose whenever somebody wanted to withdraw their gold, you did some fancy juggling until there was nothing to juggle. And then you absconded.
That's a very good story, Crosby. The only trouble is you've got your pronouns mixed. You're telling me exactly what you did.
Why, you...
I recall now seeing you ride out of town almost every Sunday.
In the company of a young lady.
A red herring, a very charming one.
It's no use, Medford. Everybody knows you're guilty. There's a posse out gunning for you right now.
And they'll find us together.
And I'll hand you over to them.
On what evidence?
Right here. You've been caught with the goods, Medford.
My dear boy, I rode in here and caught you digging.
Why, you snake. Get up. Put your hands together.
You're just putting your own head in the noose. You think for 1 minute they'll take your word against mine? You know you haven't got a scrap of evidence.
I'll have a signed confession before we get through.
From me? Never.
Get up. All right, dismount.
What for?
We're camping here.
Here?
You heard me.
By a poison spring?
Well, I've got a canteen full of water. For myself.
What about me?
You'll go without. Until you decide to tell the truth. Come on, get down. Better talk before your tongue begins to swell.
Water. Give me some water.
You give me the truth, and you'll get it. Remember, it's poison.
Water. Water.
How'd you get loose, Crosby?
Never mind about that.
So you and Medford were in cahoots?
No.
Water.
And now you're trying to do him out of his share. Untie the poor devil, men.
Wait, give me a little more time.
What for?
He's almost ready to crack, admit his guilt. Just a few more minutes.
Water.
All right.
I couldn't play it. I did it. I did it. I stole the gold.
Will Mr. Medford do a long term in prison, Dan?
The fact that all the gold was recovered may make a difference.
What a lucky thing he had to make 2 trips to get it out, or you'd never have found him in the canyon.
What a lucky thing I had a girl like you. And such a father-in-law.
Father-in-law? Oh.
So there we leave Dan Crosby, the girl in his arms and the gold in the safe. What more could a young bank manager ask for?
ড্রেস চেঞ্জ করতেছিস? চেঞ্জ করিস না, চল একটা টিকটক বানাই। টিকটক? হ্যাঁ টিকটক, চল।
স্যার নর্মাল আছে প্রেশার, নিচেরটা 80, উপরটা আছে 120। ঠিক।
থ্যাংক ইউ।
থ্যাংক ইউ।
খামটা দে।
স্যার এটা কি আশ্চর্য দেখছিস, 1000 টাকা দিল প্রেশার মাপতে। তাও
তুই জানিস উনি কে? উনি এই শহরে অনেক বড় ধনী লোক। এমন কোনো মসজিদ মাদ্রাসা নাই যে উনি দান করেন নাই। এমনকি আমাদের এই হাসপাতালও ওনার চ্যারিটি হেল্প ছিল।
ও ভালো লোক।
ড্রেস চেঞ্জ করতেছিস? চেঞ্জ করিস না, চল একটা টিকটক বানাই। টিকটক? হ্যাঁ টিকটক, চল। ঠিক আছে, এই ড্রেসটা পরবো? এটা পর।
আমার সুবিধার লোক মনে হইতেছে না। কি কইতেছেন আপনি? কি কইতেছেন?
গায়ে হাত দিছেন কেন?
গায়ে দিও মানে গায়ে হাত দিলে কি করবে? একদম
গায়ে করতেছেন। তুই
তুই গায়ে
তুই আমি আজকে শেষ কর। তুই টাকা দে, আমার টাকা দে।
ওরে আজকে বই
কোন রাস্তার মধ্যে আইছেন ভাই? এই এই আপনি কারে করছেন? হ্যাঁ
আরে ভাই আপনারে কই নাই, আমার কল দিছিলাম, এই কল রিসিভ করতেছেন, আমারে কইছি।
আমারে কোন মানে? এই আপনি নামেন তো, নামেন। আমি যাব না, আমি যাব না। আপনি কি কইতেছেন? হ্যাঁ
আপনি যাইবেন না কেন?
না আমি যাব না। আপনি আপনি নামেন, আমার টাকা দেন, আমি যাইগা।
দেমু না টাকা, আমারে না নিয়ে গেলে আমি ভাড়া দেমু না।
আরে আপনি কখন থেকে এই অলি করতেছেন? আপনার আমার সুবিধার লোক মনে হইতেছে না, একদমই সুবিধার লোক মনে হইতেছে না। আপনি টাকা দেন, আমি যাইগা।
আমার সুবিধার লোক মনে হইতেছে না? কি কইতেছেন আপনি? কি কইতেছেন?
গায়ে হাত দিছেন কেন?
গায়ে দিও মানে গায়ে দিলে কি করবে? একদম
গায়ে করতেছেন। তুই গায়ে তুই আমি আজকে শেষ কর। তুই টাকা দে, আমার টাকা দে।
ওরে আজকে বই
মোটরসাইকেল করে নিয়ে যেতেছেন ভাই? এটা আমার মালিকের মোটরসাইকেল ভাই। ভাই মোটরসাইকেল নিয়ে যান না।
গাড়ি থামলো কেন?
স্যার একটা অ্যাক্সিডেন্ট হয়েছে।
ভাই ভাই আমার একটু বাঁচান
স্যার,
ভাই।
পেটে তো ছুরি।
মনে হচ্ছে চিন্তা কি?
স্যার হসপিটালে নিয়ে যাব?
আরে পাগল হইছো? এত রাতে থানা পুলিশের ঝামেলা কে যাবো? চালাও গাড়ি।
স্যার কি অবস্থা? মনে হয় না বাবু।
ভাই যাই না ভাই। ও ভাই আমার একটু হসপিটাল।
Kênh của anh có đồ này á. Ông mày ê ông ơi, cút 5.4 ai phải cút thôi. 548 m ở chọn em rồi. Thử về ra dồn trứng ấy, bán vậy pet nha. Tình nghĩ em bán con nào thì là hợp lý. Đéo xin ghét xảy ra rồi. Rồi cái đéo này. Confirm. Yes. Còn mấy mà 2 con. Auto cho auto 2 khách không? Rồi mày ra. Để tao xóa mày. Để tao xóa mày. Quyền năng ạ. Kinh ấy. Nhưng mà ra kết khác. Galio nhưng mà đéo còn là đấu sĩ. Có Silas, đấu sĩ. Người ta sẽ là đánh Thread là kinh này sẽ là chuẩn chuẩn không nhỉ? Đây này. Đây. Ở đây này. 6 đúng không? Nhỉ. Một Thread cũng là 8. Một cái định mệnh chỉ là xin ra. Sẽ là 2 nước. Thì chiến đấu là con này chứ. Này sự lựa chọn đấy. Ôi thua phải béo á. Thua không? Hai cái bút đồ kìa khỏe đấy. Hai bút đồ anh chịu. Con gì cơ? Không có con gì sự kinh à? Phải. Nếu có cùng một lớn có thể đi kiếm một chút quân giày ấy cho này. Yes. Đang kéo này. Ui, vương miện tử thần à? Kéo. Nổ bùm sự kinh ấy. Đúng này. Kéo chết nữa. Rồi luôn. Còn bố gì cho à? Này. Cho bố gì cho. Xếp ra làm con át thế, tỷ con át. Con anh át hả? Tỷ con át à? Chia next world 188 màu. Mình mắc à? Mình đã bị mắc. Giờ không tiếp. Rare, tôi chọn không vậy. Rồi, Rare sẽ chút được. Mày. Ôi không, anh lên top 2 rồi, 4.2. Nhưng mà sao ra làm át đi, nhớ ra Silas. Ngu ấy. Nhớ ra Silas nhớ ra Ken. Tao có tiền không mà mày trả ra tao vẫn lợn này. Ra cái đéo rồi vậy. Rồi mày đi. Lại ra Galio ạ, cho nó. Giờ phải ra một kênh thay đồ khác cho kênh này rồi quá. Phát kênh đồ kênh đừng lợn đi. Đéo gì mới. Chả luôn. Đâu giờ làm chi rồi đéo cho đời. 17 quân. Sẽ quân cái pick à. Chỉ là một chỗ out mình đấy. Rồi đúng rồi. Vua này. Tao sẽ đánh sao rồi. Ok, thì tao đâu, thằng nào cũng đánh một chút zone này. Này lấy cái gì đấy, vua này. Người hắc ám việc. Vua Silas rồi. Gì đéo. Kênh khác mà. Này là kênh áo choàng, chung bú à. Đâu tự nhiên kia trời ơi. Nó thay cái áo choàng à? Không phải lấy à? Cái áo choàng là chúng ta đéo thèm rồi, đầu game kia lấy đồ. Rồi, cái áo choàng của tao. Mắc bao nhiêu rồi? Gần 5 láp bình. 5 láp bao nhiêu tỷ rồi? 5 láp là 6. Uầy, 60 củ à. The stop BITCS. Stop. Để kiếm cốt hả? Đi xin dây súng giáo rồi đây. Phút lên. Ok này ơi, anh sẽ lắp đồ cho Ken nhé. Phải tin đấy. Rồi, Ken lấy cái gì nữa? Hết đồ rồi. Thực sự là Ken móng vuốt không? À, tôi cho móng vuốt đi. Đừng quan tâm. Đây, xong. Thôi cho nó bay xong đó, bay cao cho thải. Mày đi lên thành kia cho bố. Thế cho bạn phát thôi đây đâu. Ture có móng vuốt này kia từ sẽ vào lù á. Qua đây à, tên đéo gì nhỉ, quên mất rồi, tên là gì? Tên gì? Đây mình lấy là gì? Cái tên Launching into space. Ok, đây rồi. I know. Oh, cua rồi. Con 6 mà sửa kinh này sửa quỷ ấy. Cordia Launch into Space Simulator. Cordia này Pocket Attica gọi là web không vậy? Easy Guy và đẹp cho này các bạn web kìa. Launching into Space rồi đẹp. Hai nghìn 5 like sự binh ấy và anh là thua. Cút một thằng đi đi nè một máu à trốn rồi sao 5/4 rồi có một chút áp thì đéo áp đi này đéo lên được không chỉ một chút cốt đi what the hell ở đây wrong à, wrong sao không đúng à, wrong à, what đi có không vậy ở đây là uầy xét ide ta xét này cái đéo vậy xuyên đà ide rồi mà nó làm chi đồ rồi tập cốt để xong nó này tắp nhót rồi rất đồ này đi kiếm lấy cướp thêm á 100 like 102 để nhân về vì wrong tầm như là đi voice không thua rồi cho được rồi ta bay rồi đi bay rồi đi bay gì đấy mới đi ốc gì để thôn tao bay cao lên thắng à, thua trắng à ai à tôi áo tôi thua hết sạch mà không còn cái gì để vớt nữa rồi. Đây đi. Con này đây đi, đây đi. Bên kia nào, cái đây đi. Xong. Làm hắc ám. À, ô, xong rồi. Lên. Rồi xong. Rồi xong. Mày đấy, lên 6 khám được. Không biết có làm được gì không? Nó khám được gì không? Và tốt không vậy? Nó tốt làm đấy. Một chút nhiều rồi, nhớ làm gì? Cả có đủ nữa. Xét xử ra 2 đầu đéo đến. Uầy. Team đó sửa mạnh ấy. Mình sửa thua rồi. Thì đấy, kiểu đấy nhỉ. Chua rồi, áo tô rồi. Chua rồi. Thế là top 7 rồi. 7 rồi. Nhau nhép được để bài hát ám lấy máu ở sự phút rồi. Bạn có thấp hơn không? Thằng này chết luôn rồi. Anh ăn top cuối thôi, anh top 6 à? Mua tiền top 6 4 7 giờ những vòng đéo bây giờ cái thằng này trên top mình sự là có phải phèo không vậy? Sẽ thay đổi gì kia? Tiếp tục tanh nào. Rồi hay từ chiều một con tam của ơ kìa này ơi thất vọng với Johnny đấy. À ra cái đồ kia ra đồ quan nhỉ? Phải đầu đấy sẽ ra đồ quan tàu đấy. Ăn mày đâu có top 1 mình không? Yes, anh vào top 4 này rồi. Tự nhiên ta top 7 top 6 tự nhiên nhảy vào top 4. Ai đó chịu lời tay top 6 nhảy vào top 4. Hai người kia thì out top sự không